y'all. Welcome to episode 5 of The Sweet Tea. As you notice, we're in a car. Vroom, because today Carl's going to be talking about some Uber stories he's encountered while Uber driving. And I'm here to listen.
Yeah. So, the first one, most important, my best friend Jasmine. I met Jasmine, giving her an Uber ride.
Really?
It was different, like, because we were both going through some stuff at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very open and just started talking. And then, like, it just happened, right? Yeah, it was crazy. But no, she's this crazy little Vietnamese girl, and just amazing. She lights up the room. Blah blah. I feel like I'm speaking at her funeral or something.
Her eulogy.
Her eulogy. But no, like, she's so fun to be around. So much fun. And her fiance is crazy. But you know, it is what it is. Who drives to Kentucky to buy a boat from North Carolina in the middle of the night?
If it's a good deal, it's a good deal.
They did. But you know, I've yet to go out on that boat. I'm supposed to be going soon, and we'll see how that works. But no, I think she's the best story out of all the Ubering, but I've got some juicy ones.
Yeah, let's hear them.
Well, let's start with some of the interesting people I've met. So I met my congressman, gave him a ride from the airport.
Yeah.
Didn't know who he was. And we're driving down the road. Y'all like how my neck looks? I swear I got a neck. Like,
just take the shirt off.
Yup. No.
No.
That shirt is probably a little too small for me. How'd my arm? I don't know. Anyways, but no, Dan Bishop, Congressman Dan Bishop, currently, and he's running for North Carolina Attorney General. So November 2024, go vote for Dan Bishop. Great guy, amazing guy. How'd you get your little arm to move?
Yeah.
So then it was a Sunday afternoon in the fall, and the Dallas Cowboys were in town. Okay. And I was in the university area of Charlotte. I'd gotten up early that morning. Dallas Cowboys are in town. I'm not a huge fan, not really a fan. Don't watch a lot of football much anymore. I've got personal reasons, but I know who people are. So I get this ride offer, and I go to the hotel, and all these buses are there, and I realize it's the Dallas Cowboys team is staying at this hotel. And this guy brings this ginormous bag to the back of my car. And he's like, "Hey, can you help me lift this?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure." And it's got a big old tag, like probably 8 inches by 5 inches. And it says DAC. And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
But you're not
Dak Prescott.
But you're not Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
So we get to talking. And I think his name, it may be Luke. I may be wrong, but I think it was Luke. And he kept talking about my client. And I turned around and I said, you know, I seen that ginormous tag that said DAC on it, right? You don't have to keep saying my client because I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But he had done some stuff. He's the personal trainer for Dak Prescott. And he had done some work with Willie Nelson and some other people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was just a cool interaction.
Yeah, that's really random, but cool.
Did a ride, took somebody to Columbia, South Carolina one time. And on the way back, I was hoping for an airport ride so it would kind of help pay for the difference because there's nothing coming back. And I pick up this guy, and we're talking, and he ends up being an executive at Tesla.
Interesting.
And he was in the area meeting with a company on if they would be able to, meeting with the company on a business deal to produce some parts for Tesla. Come to find out, this guy, his name was Peter, is one of 10 people that worked to build by hand 4 of the new Tesla semis.
Wow.
Like, I don't even think they're not being produced yet. You know, they're building them to test them and all this. That was a great conversation. And then the other guy, he's the executive over transportation for Jason's Deli. We got to talking. I was thinking about going to CDL school, and he's like, "Well, if you do it, here's my number. Give me a call. I'll give you a job." I'm like, "Well, that seems pretty cool."
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really random.
But then there was this one time I picked this guy up. I got to stay with my body.
Yeah.
Like, got to stay the neck. I picked this guy up from a hotel. And like, he looked like he looked like a man. That's Miss Swan again. But he looked like somebody that had been working all day, very tired, carrying a lunchbox, you know. But everybody that gets in my car, hey, how are you doing? How's your day? Blah, blah, blah. This guy gets in. He gets in. I say, hey, sir, how are you today? He looks at me. Look at me. You know what he said to me?
What did he say?
ABC. That was his response. And I had this thought, oh my gosh, this is a 25-minute ride. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Traffic in Charlotte. This is horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody doesn't want to talk, that's fine, right? I don't mind talking. I've got some stuff in the app, in the Uber app that says, you know, hey, I'd love to carry a conversation, blah, blah, blah. They can see that.
Yeah.
And this guy gets in and he says, ABC. And I'm thinking, okay, because he had an accent. Okay, yeah. He doesn't speak English. 25 minutes later, we're in the turn lane, turning left, and we're getting ready to pull into his complex, right? Yeah. And I look over and I see this woman and a little girl. And he taps me on it. He says, there's my wife and daughter. And I look at him and I'm like, ABC? Like, because, like, that's all you can say. And you didn't. And then I pull in. I'm like, well, that's great because that's where I'm dropping you off at. Yeah. And I pull in, and there's this little cut across, whatever you want to call it. And so I park, and his wife and daughter are right there.
Yeah.
And I park, and I put it in park. I'm like, all right, sir, have a great day.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't move?
He doesn't move. And I looked, you know, my big old self, I turn around, and I said, sir, you need to get out of my vehicle. Oh, no, they're coming to him. And I said, no, the hell they ain't. Like, no, I'll pay you cash. No, beep, you won't. Like, because expletive. I said, no, I've already got another ride. I'm not taking cash for a ride. You need to get out and go home.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
That's random.
Yeah.
It's not how Uber works.
That's not how Uber works. One night I decided to go home. I don't even remember what was going on, but it was late at night. I couldn't sleep. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to kick on Uber and see what's happening. And I had this offer. It's like $50, $60 some dollars to take somebody to the south side of Charlotte from Concord. And I'm like, okay, there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
I'll go, right? So I go to this brewery that we will be visiting soon, which will remain nameless.
Highwire.
I said remain nameless. It's in Concord.
Oh,
Highwire's not in Concord.
Oh, I thought you said you're going to South Charlotte.
The ride was going to South Charlotte. It was like, yeah. Anyway.
Okay, yeah.
We digress. You're not supposed to interrupt.
Yep.
You're the side seat passenger. Like, zap that. I like how your body's turned in this little. Where's the camera? In that, right there. Mm-hmm. Like you're turned sideways. Like you're listening. Like we're conversing.
Yeah.
And I've got these. Raw. I don't even know what happened to that guy. Anyway, so this is a drunk couple. I picked this drunk couple up from a brewery.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the guy is 4 sheets to the wind. He is done, right?
Yeah.
The lady gets in. She's about 3.5 sheets to the wind. And, I mean, she was hitting on me like you would not believe. With her husband sitting next to her. And I'm like, and then I got what's that, jovial? Is that the right word? Where you just start joking? Yeah. And I'm like, dude, do you not understand what your wife is? And she kept so I'm driving down the interstate, doing a little more than the speed limit. And, I mean, I got this drunk lady behind me grabbing my shoulder, and she's pushing because, some people, when they joke, they got like that. Sorry, are you? Did I hurt your little Asian feelings? White and yellow. But I'm like, lady, please, because this is like I'm trying. You're going to kill me. You're going to kill us. Okay, those heifers didn't even tip me. Can you believe that?
That's crazy. They probably forgot to when they're drunken state.
Speaking of drunk people,
mm-hmm.
Y'all know who Teddy Swims is. Yeah. I've come to love Teddy Swims. He's a great musician, did a lot of covers, making his way. He's writing his own music, doing great. And so I go pick this lady up, and her daughter and her daughter's daughter and her daughter's son, they all got in my car to go a mile up the street to the gas station. And they spent 15 minutes in the store, and I took them a mile back home. But anyways, on the way, this lady, the grandma, we'll call her grandma, she was so inebriated. She looks at me, she says, sir, excuse me, sir. You're supposed to look at me, dude. I'm talking to you. She's like, you look so much like Teddy Swims. I'm like, baby, I don't know who Teddy Swims is. Because at this point, I didn't know who Teddy Swims was. And so she just kept going and going and going. And I'm like, ha 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 ha. So they go in the store, and I Googled Teddy Swims, and I'm like, what?
I'll put a picture of
There is no way. Because I ain't got tattoos all over my face.
Big piercings.
It's the beard, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the head shape. I don't know. Shaved head. That may have gotten her. But it ended up, I mean, they came back out of the store, and she just kept going. Oh, you look so much like Teddy Swims. I said, well, you better tip Teddy Swims. And of course they didn't. Drunk people never tip.
Yeah, they never tip.
Whatever. A lot of non-drunk people don't tip either. But I do it. I enjoy doing it. So, so I've got a list on my phone.
Yeah.
I've only got a couple more on here. So I picked up a gentleman. I was sitting at the waiting lot at the airport one time, and I got this ride offer, and I accepted it. It said that it didn't say where it was going, and it didn't say how much it was paying.
That's weird.
And as soon as I accepted it, somebody called me, right? So I answered the phone, we're talking, and it's this guy that I just accepted the ride. And he's like, did it tell you how much it would cost? And I said, no, it didn't. I said, did it tell you how much it would cost? He's like, well, it didn't, but I've only got $143. I'm like, okay, where are you going? Oh, well, I gotta go to Camp Lejeune. I said, sir, so you have $143 and you need to go 4.5 hours down the road.
Yeah.
And I said, why do you need to go there? He said, well, I'm here for extended training, and I have to be there by midnight. Now, I was raised by a Marine, love the military, fully support the military, and I said, you know what? I said, I'll be there in a minute, and we'll talk about it in person.
Yeah.
And I get over there, and security's like, you can't stop here, and they're tooting their little whistles, and I'm like, okay, whatever, because I mean, you're not writing me a ticket, right? And nobody's going to come tow my vehicle in 30 seconds, right? So just calm down, because I'm trying to help this guy. So again, $143. I've got to go. This is the whole story. And I said, you know what, dude? Let's just do it. Let's just go. And
you did it.
$143. Which, I mean, that's an 8-hour. No, this is a 9-hour round trip.
Yeah.
I mean, it paid for the fuel, so that's why. That's ultimately it covered my expense. So I was like, okay, that's fine.
It was just your time,
right? And I got home literally. I got home at 12:30 that night.
Jeez.
It was such a long day. But it was worth it. Poor guy though. We got there to the gate. I'm not military.
Yeah.
I ain't getting in that gate. Dude had 7 miles left to walk to get to where the building he needed to be in. From the gate was 7 miles. I'm like, man, I feel so bad for you, but at least you're here. You'll make 7 miles in the next 4 hours, So he made it and reached out to me on Snapchat a few times. We try and keep up with each other a little bit.
You guys are friends.
Great guy. Yeah, great guy. He said he'd vote for me for Congress, which wouldn't matter because he lives in Texas, and I don't. But
such a Texas
such a nice guy. Last story I'll tell you, and it's kind of juicy. I saved. Oh, that's a bad word. That's bad. That's a descriptor already. So just remember that for the end of the story. So I get this ride. It's the middle of summer, last summer, 2023.
Yeah.
Hot as
Satan's
everything. Right. It's 4:00 in the afternoon. And I go to this motel. The ride was to pick up from a motel, and I picked this young lady up. She come out of the motel. It seemed as though she stayed there, right? Yeah. So, I mean, no judgment. Stuff happens. You stay where you stay. Somewhere to sleep is better than nowhere to sleep. Wasn't concerned about that. She gets in the car. It was like 94 degrees outside. Are you trying to stay with the body?
Yeah, I am.
Like, I ain't got no neck. And she gets in. Hey, how are you? Great, I'm doing well. I'm going to work. I'm so excited. I'm like, oh, okay, great. And then in my mind, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll bite. And I turn around. So what do you do for work? And she says, this little heifer, she says, oh, I work at a hair salon or a nail salon and parlor. I'm like,
no, you don't.
At 4:30 in the afternoon, you going to work? Okay. And then she's like, oh, can you turn the air down? It's hot. I'm like, sure, not a problem. So I get out on the road and we turn onto Wilkinson Boulevard and I turn the air all the way up. You know, we're driving and I realized she put a blanket over herself.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's why you're hot.
You're hot, cold air, let's cover up.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, you know, look, hey, I seen you vaping. If you want to vape, that's fine, not a problem. Go ahead. You know, because I was like getting a little anxious. I'm like, I need to hit my vape. And nothing is said. I'm listening to my music. Oh, I do have one more story about the whole listening to music thing. And we're 15 minutes down the road, and I'm starting to realize the area that we're getting into. Yeah. The east side of Charlotte is a wonderful area.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Amazing. Sweater weather. That's what came to mind. Sorry. Anyways, I digress again. Did you order Chinese for dinner?
Yeah.
I have ADHD. So I turned off of Independence Boulevard. We're on the east side of Charlotte. Turn off Independence Boulevard, and the destination, I can see the destination isn't that far away, but I'm kind of starting to recognize, because I've been in that area for work that I had done before.
Yeah.
Work that I had done before.
We're just going to leave it at that.
It was Amazon.
Yeah.
I picked up a route from somebody else. I had to go over there that day. That's why I had been in that area before. Remember this, okay? Yeah. So we're driving, and I get to a stop sign. I look left. Nobody's coming. So I look right. But when I look right, Alex, my peripheral vision picked up something.
Yeah.
And we're back to the juicy part.
What does that mean?
She was, she was covered.
Yeah.
But she was,
in your car.
In my car. And you can't make this stuff.
What?
It's horrible. Sorry for any children that watch this.
They don't get it.
It was interesting. So then I really realized, because we made the right, and then it was like 4 addresses up on the right, and we turned in. I'm like, oh, I've tried to deliver a package from Amazon to this house before, and nobody was here at 2 p.m. when I showed up, because they usually open up later. Yeah. And I realized when I pulled in that she does not do nails. She works at a parlor. Y'all know what you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, it's one crazy. Of those. Oh, it was. I felt bad for her though.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole different podcast.
Woof. Last story.
This
was very recent. I picked up a young man. He got in the car. He had headphones, like the whole headphone thing covers your ear. I could tell I had a suspicion he might have been a little, maybe like autistic. And no judgment. I mean, pick him up, take him where he's going. Y'all need to understand, I have a shifter in my car, right? And it's right here. And I tap on it, like go with the beat, tap, tap, tap-a-roo. And so the beat, the music's playing, and I'm doing all this, and I'm tapping. And this young man says, "Excuse me, can you stop tapping?" And I turn and I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And then of course, it's what's that called? It's just something you do.
It just
happens, right? So a few minutes, 4 or 5 minutes later, I'm listening to the music. I'm like, it's not making a noise on my leg when I'm tapping on my leg. So then it just goes back, and my fingers just start tapping the dang shifter again. "Excuse me, you're tapping again." I came to a red light, and I turned around, and I said, "Young man, this is my car. Well, I don't like it. Expletive, expletive, expletive. I'm sorry, this is my vehicle. Well, please stop. Do you want to ride this last half mile or do you want to get out? Because I'll put you out and then I'll drive to where you're supposed to stop.
And wait for you?
And no, I ain't going to wait for it. I'm a mark that I dropped him off where he was supposed to go. Like, don't mess with me. Like, I'm in control of this. And you ain't paying next to nothing because it was a short ride. Don't mess with me like that. Yeah. The moral of the story, don't do stupid stuff that Uber drivers can then tell about. But also,
podcast.
Right? Like, who knows that's going to happen. But also, respect other people's stuff. Like, you're in my vehicle. I'm not being disrespectful.
Yeah.
I'm being very nice. You want a bottle of water? We stop and get you a bottle of water. You want to plug your phone up? Here's a cord. You want some music? Listen to your own. You can listen to mine, or we can agree on something different. But don't be like that. Don't be like that. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Right? But nonetheless, wrapping it back up, best Uber story, Jasmine. Yep, Jasmine, my bestie.
I like the wholesome one with the Marine. That was cool.
Yeah, it was. And honestly, I mean, I was wore out that day, but I felt good. It was a feel good thing. Like, why does the Marine Corps require them to pay their own way to get to? Like, I didn't understand that, but on Jasmine will hopefully be joining us on some podcast. We're doing some cool Asian food reviews. That'll be fun.
Speaking of Asian food, we got Asian food.
Yeah. Got some beef made fun. The noodle. Okay, stop. We're stopping. All right. Y'all take care. Great to see you, even though I can't see you, but you can see me. Hope you enjoyed our little bodies there. I tried to stay in frame. And Alex, you ain't got no neck. There you go. It's such a little body compared. Okay. Anyways, y'all have a great evening. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.